Hey, 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 what's going on? Habarigami, what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? It's Ujima. How y'all doing out there? Y'all celebrating that Kwanzaa? Y'all got it going on today? All right, all right, all right. Happy Kwanzaa to all my good people out there. It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha Wright. That's right, it's me, the author of Curly Hair Adventures, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, and the Beauty and Barber Survival Plan. And today we are going to have a very cool, super fantastic African Kwanzaa magic discussion about what they don't tell you at the hair salon about textured hair with emphasis on coarse hair. We're gonna have a great discussion. Now, to those of you who are like, who are you? Who are you? Again, I'm Ladosha Wright. I'm this zany, brainy cosmetologist who loves to tell you everything that they don't tell you at the hair salon, because I feel like that's what I was put on this planet to do, all right? Okay, so let's hop right into this discussion. So here's what they don't tell you at the hair salon. A lot of times people get hair texture and they get hair type very confused, and they use those synonymously. So sometimes when people are talking about coarse hair, they're really talking about the strength of the hair. And sometimes when people are talking about the texture of hair, they're really talking about the strength of the hair. So let's break down, well, what's the difference, smarty pants? All right, so here's what they don't tell you at the hair salon. Hair textures come in various types. So you have curly, you have wavy, you have coily, you guys might call it kinky / afro, and then you have straight, okay? So those are your four dominant textures, okay? Wavy, coily, curly, and straight. Now, coily is often sometimes, referred to as kinky hair or afro hair, okay? So those are your four textures of hair, okay? Then within that texture, you actually have a type of hair. Is your hair fine? Is your hair medium, not too strong, not too weak? Or is it coarse? And that means strong. So now we see how things get like, you know what? You're right. Now we start to see why that lowest scale and the FIA and the hair mapping, this is why all this gets a little bit confused, because you can say all you want about your texture, but really, what about the type? And then here's the third little caveat. You ready, Rashida? Density. Density would refer to how many numbers of fibers of hair do you have per cubic inch. So if you have a very little bit or sparse, we would call that like sparse or fine as well, because you don't have that many. If it's medium, we might consider that like normal, because it's not too much fibers and it's not too little. And then if you have a lot of fibers, we'll call that thick. That's your density. So now you're like, oh, you know what, Ladosha? The plot is really thickening. These three things are really, really vital and important when it comes to caring for your hair, because people get really, really confused when they're dealing with textured hair, because the word coarse comes up a lot. So here's my customer who was told that she has really coarse hair because she has a lot of density, number one. Number two, she has a lot of texture. And then number three, it's gray. Now you can't see it because we're processing color, okay? So you can't see that there's color here, but her hair is all white, just like my hair. And so white hair is often described as coarse hair. And so what was happening is, when she would visit the salon, because they thought her hair was coarse, they were using the wrong products, you got it, the wrong tools, and you guessed it, the wrong techniques. And so the length that she was going after, it was not happening. And so they were saying things like, well, you know, Afro hair just don't grow that long. You have to go natural. You know, you can't put heat on it. You know, making up all these excuses instead of really using the science that avails itself so that we can really help her understand her hair. So this is why I love the Amin-Ra Squad. Big up to the Amin-Ra Squad, because they're big on this term that they call lookership. So lookership is when you just look at the hair and you just say stuff like, oh, you have coarse hair. Or you look at her skin color, or maybe her features. This is why those Olmec heads keep getting all the like, you can't look at a person and say, well, you're in Mexico and you have a big nose and you have big lips, so you must come from Africa. That's kind of racist, okay? Don't do that. So that's a lot of times what happens in the beauty industry. And it is because of racism. We are assigning lookership. We're looking at a particular features and we're saying that if you look like this, then you must be that. And there are some truth and some relevancy in phenotypes where people who come from a certain area, they do have certain features, you know what I'm saying? But in America, that's going to be a little bit diluted because we're all just kind of, you know, we're kind of mixed up here. So lookership is not a good thing to use in cosmetology, because we'll make those mistakes and we'll look at a person, we'll look at their big nose, we'll look at their cheekbones and their full lips, you know, and their big boobs and their hips and their textured hair, and we'll say, oh, you're black. You know, you don't want to do that. Or you have, you know, nappy hair because it's bushy. Or because it's, you know, she has a lot of density, we'll say it's coarse. You have to consider all three things before you begin to address the hair. Because if you look at a person, you will shrug off what the fiber actually requires and the scalp. So that's where some of that good hair. So if a person has less density, less texture, and the hair is softer, and you can kind of get your finger through it, we'll say stuff like, oh, it's easy for you, girl, because you got what? Good hair. You see where that's coming from? All that has its history, its roots, its language, its whole concept is coming from a racist foundation and a racist premise that when they created the term race, they assigned the texture to the race. Not the science, the pseudo. You see where we're going? The pseudo. So when Johann Blumenbach and Carlos von Linnaeus, these are the people who are really considered the fathers of, you know, of anthropology and, you know, human anatomy. People have a lot of respect for these guys. After all, it was Johann Blumenbach who coined the term Caucasian. And so they were very well regarded and they were highly revered. However, their foundation for how they drew their conclusion to who was a Caucasian, a Mongoloid, a Negroid, you know, and a Caucasoid, and they, you know, their asses was crazy. There ain't no other way to say it. But back then, you could go to school for like 3 weeks to get a PhD. I'm just keeping 100, okay? So the education back then, it isn't what it was now. I ain't gonna let them off the hook, but you know, that is what they were teaching back then. Unfortunately, it's happening today. So my guess, how old are you? Are you 20? How old are you, 35? She says she wished. So we know she's over 35, okay? So here we are, 400 years later, and people are still assigning hair textures to the pseudo science of race. And so for years, when she first came to me, she had this like little short hair. She didn't have the length. I'm going to come back and let you guys see the hair when I'm all finished. But she wasn't getting her length. And she wasn't getting her length because the notion or the belief that African Americans with coarse hair, you know, could not achieve the length. And that's terribly wrong. You can get the length with any texture of hair, provided you have a few things working in your favor. So number one, of course, you need genetics. So genetics is just going to trump all this crap I'm talking about. And so what you want to do is understand and respect the genetics. It's kind of like the coronavirus. You can't see it, but it sees you. You can't see genetics, but it sees you, okay? So you have to respect the science of genetics, even if you don't understand it. So once you have the understanding and the acknowledgement of the very important role that genetics play in hair texture and hair types and density, now we can get into what type of hair do we have? So how do we find out what type of hair does she have? Well, we do something called a strand test. Now, you ain't got to do all this. If you have your own comb or brush at home, you can use your own comb and brush. But we're in a hair salon, so you know what? And she's my model, so I'm going to have to just, show you. She gave me permission to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut one strand of hair, okay? Just one. Now remember, if you have your own comb or brush or just your own hair, just grab some gonna fall out, okay? And you're gonna take that one strand of hair, you can't see it because there it is, okay? And you're just gonna wrap it around your finger and you're going to do what we call a strand test. So if her hair snaps really quick, it's going to be fine. If it takes a little while to snap, her hair is going to be medium. So fine hair, of course, is considered weak because it's not that many layers. We'll talk about that. And then second, medium means it's not too strong, it's not too weak. Now, coarse hair, I don't care how many times you tug on it, it will never, ever snap unless the hair is compromised. I mean, like you got color on it, some chemicals, maybe some medication, something that's making the hair fragile. Again, that's over here. So she doesn't have any of that going on. So now I'm going to do a strand test. And I'm just gonna tug on it and just gently, don't put water on it, nothing fancy, just at the state. Now, if the hair is not clean, it's gonna be a little fudge factor. So I'm talking about soiled, like you got goo, like gel and all that stuff. Don't do your strand test. Let your hair be dry, and it can have a little product on it because you want to know how the hair responds in real life with stuff on it, okay? So she ain't evil, funky ghetto on the hair, okay? So we're going to do a little strand test, and I'm just going to tug it. And if it snaps quick, it's medium. You see what happened? I mean, quick, it's fine. It took a little while to snap, so she has medium type, meaning it's not too strong, but it's not too weak. But remember, she was told she has coarse hair because she has density. So density is like how many fibers do you have per cubic inch? So the more fibers you have, you would have what we call thick hair. So clearly you can see this woman has some very thick hair. And that's where the confusion was coming in. They saw she had a lot of fibers, and so they said, "Oh, it must be coarse." And so now your racism, you don't know this because you're just taught this is cultural now. So now culturally we're saying when you see a person with a lot of hair on their head and they have texture, then it must be what? Coarse. Wrong. Now we have to determine what is her texture. Now this is very easy. You don't need to be a cosmetologist. I know we got some cosmetologists in the chat. What's up to all my licensed beauty professionals? I appreciate y'all's support. But we teach this to all of our customers to help them understand, because we as licensed professionals, we know the damage that racism has done, not only to the people, but also to our industry. So the onus is on us to do what? Undo what racism has really tried to do. So again, don't look at my features. Don't look at my big nose. Don't look at the color of my skin. Don't look at my full Kool-Aid lips. Yeah, I got some Kool-Aid lips. It's all good. Don't look at my thick bosoms and all that. Don't do that. I want you to instead look at the follicle or direction that the hair grows out from. So if you're going to a hair salon or a barber shop or a braider person and they're doing your hair like this, like, oh, girl, your hair nappy, it's thick, that it's coarse. Okay, you need another professional because that's what we call ghetto kitchen stylist, okay? Now remember, cosmetology is a profession contrary to all the colors that I have in my hair. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a legitimate profession. And there is an anatomy to hair. It really, truly is. And so the anatomy starts off before we get started. Remember, I told y'all genetics. So that part ain't taught in cosmetology school, so I'm going to shut that up because they don't teach us that. They need to, but they don't, okay? So, but what they do teach us is that you can physically look and see, number one, the shape of the follicle, which is that little mouth, that little hole that the hair grows out of. You can see that with the naked eye. But if you need some glasses, like some of y'all need some glasses, I know I don't need none now. Let me shut up because next year I'm probably going to have some glasses on, okay? I'll go to the eye doctor and let y'all know, okay? Or if you just like, I ain't got time for that, girl, bad, you doing the most, okay? You can look at the direction that the hair is growing from the scalp. So clearly we can see this is at a 45-degree angle. And so that on all humans, forget the color, on all humans, you would have wavy textured hair. So now we know her density is what? Thick. This woman has a lot of hair. She probably ain't never going to be bald. Praise God, I'm always have a job. Thank you, Jesus, won't he do it? I'm sorry, I got a little carried away, okay? So, Willie won't. All right, somebody knew what to say. Willie won't. So, praise God that she has a lot of hair. That means I'm going to remain employed, okay? And so now we know that the type of hair she has, it's medium. It's not too weak, but then it's not too strong, okay? Now we know her texture is wavy. So what does that speak to in your language? It's called, you guys are going to love this, normal hair. So now you know how to shop for your hair care products. If she was to go and buy products that said for thick, coarse, strong hair, oh my God, her hair would be jacked up. And that's what was happening. They were using products that were formulated for stronger hair. Now you guys have to understand why we start to sell hair care products. Now, we ain't just trying to take y'all money. This is the third principle of the Nguzo Saba, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. This is what we're doing today. As a collective, there are other licensed professionals on the feed. In the chat, there are also everyday customers. We are collectively learning how to understand our hair as individual people and not this monolith, black hair, ethnic hair. All black people, all white people, whatever y'all gonna call us this year, do not have the same hair. The classifications for hair is just to really help us do what? Spend money! So you're not wasting money. So we don't want her buying products that says for thick, for thick, coarse. If it said thick hair, that's not enough. We need a little bit more. What kind of thick hair? Is it thick medium? Meaning, remember thick means density, okay? Work with me, y'all. Okay? Is it in density? Okay? That's two different things. Thick hair doesn't mean strong hair. Don't get it twisted. Let me get my rubberneck on. Don't get it twisted, boo. Thick hair does not mean strong hair. Thick hair means the number of fibers you have on your hair. Because a lot of people have a lot of hair, but when you smooth it out or you go to pull it, it's so fine. It's like, I'm confused when it's wet. I'm Angela Davis. But when I straighten it out, I'm like a wet, dog. What's going on? Density. You got it? You see where I'm going with this, okay? So, now, don't be looking at my boobs, okay? So now, here you go. So now we understand this is how they make hair care products. Hair care products are formulated by chemists, sometimes with the cosmetologist and sometimes without. Quite naturally, we're going to promote that you guys only buy products who are partnered with or designed by who? Hairstylists. Isn't that amazing? Now you might be thinking, well, they ain't no chemists. They don't know what they doing. No, we don't. We're not chemists. Some of us are, some of us are not. But what we do know is the anatomy of hair. And so with all of this anatomy or science of hair, we can now work in partnership, in unison, hence what? Ujima, collective work and response. Y'all feeling me now? Are you guys feeling the third principle of the Nguzo Saba? This is not something, this is why we're saying Kwanzaa is not a holiday. These are principles that we can use in our lives every single day. You don't have to wait till the third day after Christmas. You can do Ujima every single day of your life. And so hair care products are the manifested version of Ujima. This is collective work. So we all are beginning to understand that when they make this product, they don't see the color. They don't see the big nose. They don't see the full lips. They see what? The texture. They see the type. They see the density. That's what they see. And so our job is to transfer the information to you, hence the collective. And so now you're not going to give that product a bad name. That's why I never say things like, do not buy Dove. It is from the dollar store. Oh my God. Are you using over-the-counter products on your hair? Oh my goodness, how could you? Oh my God, you went to the dollar store and bought some shampoo. Oh girl, no you did. You got a Chanel bag and you got the nerve to be at a dollar store buying some shampoo. Hey guys, if it works, use it. Who cares? Remember, hair care and hairstyling are about what? Come on, y'all, rocking with me. I've been on this social media platform long enough. Say it with me now. The right products, the right tools, and the right technique. The name has nothing to do with it unless your last name is what? Right. I love it. Don't hate me. Don't hate the game. Don't hate the player, girl. Hate the game, okay? So since my last name is Wright, I'm about to work what my mama gave me, okay? So I'm about to work this situation because that's all it is. So whether you're carrying a Chanel purse and you're driving an Aston Martin, hint, hint, okay? And you go to the dollar store, or you in the hood and you catch an Uber and you up in Saks and you buy some Frederick Fekkai or you buy some Ted Gibson. Hey, if it works, use it, okay? Now, here's the catch now. You got to understand that hair care products are like cars. So they all will do the same thing. The question is, how do you want to arrive? Now that we know this is her texture, medium. This is her texture, wavy. This is her type, medium. This is her density, thick. She has a lot of fibers. Now that we know this, how do you want to arrive? So I asked her, how do you want to arrive? Do you want to spend what? $100 on your hair? $50, $30, $25? What's your budget?
Luxury.
You want?
I can afford.
And how much is that? Would that be $200? Because they got $500 shampoo, whatever you want. This is America, baby. How much you want to spend?
$50, $100.
Okay, so she's in $50 to $100. Now, $50 to $100 in the beauty world, that's like an Impala, okay? You ain't balling yet, because it's levels to this. So $50 to $100, you kind of like, you in the Impala, maybe not quite Cadillac. You getting up there, okay? You maybe like Toyota, Honda, okay? So that's how she wants to arrive. My products, we down there with the escorts, you see what I'm saying? So my products are for everyday people who want the best bang for their buck. So we don't care what the name is. Once you identify your budget, then you look for the best that those dollars can buy. And then as you get more money, you can, be like Sierra, level up, okay? You can level up if you want to. But I use my hair care, I use everything on my hair, okay? But first and foremost, I do use my own stuff, okay? I'm gonna keep 100, okay? Duh, all right? But I do use, like, I don't have edge tamer in my line of products. So sometimes one line of product doesn't have everything. I have a treatment, but I don't have protein. You see what I'm saying? So I have to go to the Aston Martins of protein, and to me, that's Philippalucci. To somebody else, it might be Redken. To somebody else, it might be, what's it called? Infusium 23. It varies. The bottom line is, they're all proteins. The question is, how do you want to arrive? Now, I think I'm going to date Puff Daddy someday. Go ahead, humor me, guys, humor me. Put some hearts and say P. Diddy and Ladosha. So I think he's going to get rid of all the skinny girls and start to date a thicker sister. So I want to use the best protein. I'm kind of flexible on the shampoo. And this is why my product line isn't uberly expensive, because I know that for most people who I'm reaching out to, that ain't where they at. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that we're trying to make all of this mesh together so that we're not overselling, but then under-delivering. That's the worst thing could happen. But what happens is that the companies are not out here like the Wright hair care products are. This is what's making my brand unique from other brands, is that I'm out here on the pulse of the people who I am deliberately reaching out to. And these are people who are interested in wanting to know more about hair. These are people who are frustrated with their hair. These are people who have been hair shamed. They've been discriminated. And then these are people who just flat out, I don't give a shit, I hate hair. Okay? But they still got to comb it. You see what I'm saying? So that's my target people. I don't have the Kardashians, you know. I don't have the hair weave. You can use it on your hair weave, but I'm not really going after those people unless they fit what? Those categories. So my marketing is a little bit different and it's specific to those people. So my company, the Wright Hair Care Products, we're on these platforms. I'm going to get off this platform, and once I clean her up, I'm going to get on Instagram and rock the same funky conversation. You see what I'm saying? Because I want you guys to understand that is what hair is about. Coarse hair has to do with strength, not texture. It's not density. Don't confuse, don't use those three synonymously. And if you have a licensed cosmetologist who maybe couldn't articulate what they've been saying, replay this video and say, is this what you was trying to say? And she gonna say, yeah, but you wouldn't listen to me. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes cosmetologists, we don't get a chance to articulate what we're trying to say because we don't have books like these that are written by us, for us. That's FUBU. Sorry, Damon. I'm just gonna steal your stuff, okay? This stuff right here is FUBU. For us, by us. Us meaning who? Those 5 categories of people. We need to have this information readily available, not just to the cosmetologist, but to the consumer, like the medical community. Jim Collins, who wrote From Good to Great, calls that success leaves clues. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel. This works in the medical community. How are we able to rock and get through this pandemic? Because the success from the 1918 pandemic is setting the foundation for the 2020 pandemic. Are you guys rocking with me? So it's just that simple. So in the future, understand that hair textures and types, there are 4 different textures: curly, wavy, straight, coily / kinky, afro, whichever word you want to use, okay? All right, and then over on the other side, you have your 3 types, which means strength. Fine is weak, meaning it's gonna snap quick. Medium, meaning it's not too weak, but it's not too strong. And then coarse hair is very strong. It'll never, ever snap. Think like Asians. That hair, you can thread a needle. It's very, very strong. Now, you can have afro on top of all of these textures except for straight. So a person can have curly hair and you can see the afro. A person can have wavy hair and you can see the frizz or the fro. A person can have coily hair and you can still see the frizz or the fro. So the afro is going to definitely be on top. But don't think Africa, please. Don't think that. Not that we're ashamed to be African, but you have to understand the equator goes around the world. It doesn't just get to Africa. It's like, that's it, okay? So just be careful. I'm black and I'm proud. Don't get it twisted, boo, okay? But remember, everybody who has that texture, they're not necessarily Africans of what we might be thinking, okay? We know mankind was founded in Africa. We know this, and we are very proud. But it is imperative that we respect the culture of other nations' history. People from across the world have history that's different from what we're telling in the United States. So we have to be very careful. And cosmetologists, we understand this. We maybe can't articulate it, but we understand it. So this is why I wrote the book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon. This is why I have the Wright hair care product. Every time my uncle get on the feed, I get real proper. Hello, uncle. How are you? Nothing like having an uncle in the chat, because I want to represent our family very well, because I want you guys to know this is the Ujima, the collective work. This is the foundation of what my family represented for me, so that I can pour it into my business and the manifested world. I have customers, I have books, I have hair care products, and then last but not least, y'all know I ain't coming off this feed without talking about this, no joke. Booyah! Time to give it to ya. The Wright comb, okay? So that's what it's all about, guys, okay? So keep your hair care a little bit more simple. Don't make it too technical, because it'll throw you off your kilter. Get rid of the lookership. Stop looking at people and trying to determine what their hair is, or looking at yourself. Instead, get up in the mirror real close and look and see which direction that hair is growing. Is it in an angle? Is it flat down to the scalp where you can see a C? Is it growing straight out? Well, clearly you can see my hair is wavy. Just the way it's falling, the wave is very dominant, but I also have the frizz. So I have afro wavy hair. My density is medium. It's not I don't have nearly as many fibers as she has on her head of hair. So if I was working for me, I'm gonna be unemployed faster. But I'm glad she's my client, you see what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna have a job for a long time on her hair, okay? And so, and then my type is not too strong, it's not too weak. So our hair is almost alike, but it's different. So we're in the same ethnic group. We are both considered African Americans, but we do not have the same hair. I hope that you all have truly enjoyed this presentation. I'm going to hop on over to Instagram and do this again with the finished results and talk a little bit more as I style her hair. If you have any questions, you know you can just email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com, or you can visit my YouTube channel at Ladosha Wright. You can also shop for all of my hair care products at my Amazon store, which is amazon.com, Ladosha Wright. Or you can go to Global Hair Care Shopify and you can find the whole entire line. If you want the comb, the right comb, you're going to check out my people over at myrevair.com. And my books are available on ebooks as well as lwrightbooks.com, and of course on Amazon. Thank you guys so very much for supporting me. And you know what I say when I'm always signing out. Now that you understand what coarse hair is, remember, I'm always talking about a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and a whole lot of hair. And if you ain't got no hair, don't want no hair, can't stand hair. As a matter of fact, in 2021, you plan on cutting off your hair, then you know I got a fresh cut, you see what I'm saying? Then just go ahead on and rub your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bald head. It's just that simple. We are beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. Happy Kwanzaa, and remember, Ujima.